Hey everybody, it's Ryan. Welcome back to How Farms Work. I now have the majority of my herd in the barnyard, slight majority. And since I got most of them up in here, I decided that today would be the day that I would take the dart gun out and start utilizing the cows. As some of you may know or have seen from our Snapchat, I am once again having troubles with the neighbor's Highlander bulls. One of them in particular I had problems with last year, and he's back over there. They had another one that was jumping clear over the fences, and he was getting out on the road, and he was just being a huge pain in the rear for just about everybody. And he got in with my herd and I couldn't get him out. Tried telling the neighbor about him. You know, he was so skittish that you couldn't even get close to him. I finally just texted him one day and said, hey, if I can get a hold of him, if I can dart him, put him down and get him loaded up in the trailer, make sure that he's gonna be all right, I'm gonna take him to the sales barn. And I told him unless he could guarantee that he wouldn't be back. So he said that go ahead, take him to the sales barn. So we did. I did finally manage to shoot him. I think I wasted like 5 darts trying to get it close enough to him, but he was just so skittish that I couldn't get close to him. He was breeding my cows in that whole meantime, and now I don't know how many of my cows have been bred to a cream colored Highlander. So in light of that, I decided that I wanted to utilize as many of my cows as I could. So that means after, if they are open, in 2 days they should go into estrus and they should come into heat. If they were bred, it can take up to 21 days for them to go through their cycle, let's call it, and then after that they'll be open and they should come back into heat. So we're going through and giving out as many doses of this as we can. I don't have a chute, otherwise that would have been the way that I would have done it. And the price of these darts was just a little bit more than it would have been to rent a chute and run them all through it. Which the bonus of having these darts is that if I don't get, because I know I won't get all the cows in here, if I don't get, you know, X amount of them in, then I can go out and keep an eye on them, take the gun out with me. If I see them, shoot them up out in the pasture. And I'll be opening up the other pasture, so they'll all have to be running by me. If I can get all of them shot up with darts in the barnyard now, I can pick up the darts, because that's a major concern that we have doing this, is making sure that we don't have darts laying around everywhere that are super sharp, and have been going through and picking them up as they've been falling out of the cows. So I've got roughly 40 of them treated, and we're gonna go through and shoot one of these up and just show you guys the process. So these are the darts that we're using. These are 2cc darts, which allows me to just put the full dose in each and every dart. They're tipped with Vaseline to keep the medicine in, which this one looks like it's actually coming out. But I've found that with these smaller darts, the liquid has a tendency to stay in more than on the larger ones. They don't leak out quite as much. But the reason I'm wearing latex gloves is because you don't want to get, it's proglastin. It's a long, funny word. Basically, it's a hormone that you don't want to get on your skin because it can soak through it, which is why women who are pregnant especially should not get any of this on their skin, and even really anybody shouldn't be. These aren't the proper gloves to be using. These are double-walled vinyl. You should be using medical grade latex, in my opinion, to be handling this stuff. I have the gloves on now just to make sure that I don't get any right on my hands. When I was filling these up earlier, Hannah was watching me do it, and I said, just totally unprovoked, I said, you know, if you're so smart, then what is this little measuring spot on the liquid called? And I held up the syringe, and she's like, she just looked at me like I stabbed her in the back. She's like, well, I don't know what it is. And I said, come here. I held it up to her and I said, what do you gauge in a syringe? What do you gauge it by? What is that level of liquid called in there? What do you measure to the bottom of that bubble? What's that bubble called? And she's like, oh, the meniscus? And I'm like, see? I'm like, if you had a good science teacher growing up, you know what the meniscus is. But I just held the syringe up, filled them up, 2 cc's each, and each cow's been getting one. I've been told that using darts is only like 80% effective, which may be true. I think a lot of that is probably due to how it is injected. This is, again, isn't an optimal situation using darts. I would much prefer ran them through the chute if I had one, but I didn't even know I was going to get this many in the lot, so I'm able to get the majority of my cows. But it does fall out after roughly 5 minutes or so, and in 2 days all the cows should come into heat. I'm going to wait probably that 2 days and try to get as many cows shot up as I can, and then I'm going to let my bulls out, starting with my 2 younger bulls, and then I'm going to let the oldest one out to clean up the herd, you could say, and hopefully that way I'll have a synchronized calving window. I like to get the bulls out on August 1st, but I'm having an issue deciding what to do because I want to let them out into the cline pasture, but I know there's cows that I have that once I let them out into the cline pasture, I'm not going to see them again until I start putting hay out in the fall to get them to come back in, and hopefully they're all bred by then. So I shoot them all on the same day. They're going to be synchronized, so hopefully the calves will all be in a narrower window. By having calves that are born around the same time, they should hopefully be about the same size, and that will reduce, or I guess increase, gains across your herd by allowing all of the animals to be similar of size instead of having different size animals in the feeding lot where you get the bigger ones pushing the smaller ones away from the feeder. So that's kind of what the reasoning is behind wanting to shoot them up with this stuff. And in the future, once I have a chute, I am highly likely to do it that route instead. But this is the best I've got. So far, I've shot 40 of them, and I haven't missed a single one yet. So hopefully I can keep that up for the rest of the herd. I just got a bunch more to come up, and I opened up the gate and let them in. Hopefully, you know, I can just push these cows out into the other lot and close the gate on them, and I can get the rest of them to just kind of gradually come up throughout the day. But I've got to, I let probably 15 more in here now, so I got to go through and shoot as many of them as I can find. Let's load up the gun and shoot the first one. We're gonna check to make sure that the barrel's clear, so we don't have 2 darts in there. Put it up in, pump it 5 times, pull this back, and we'll be good to go. We should have had one of these things years ago. Like I said, if I could have ran them through the chute, I would have preferred to do it that way. But personal opinion, I feel like this is a whole lot less traumatic for them because you're not pushing them through the chute. You know, they feel a little bit of pain in their rear end, but they don't feel restricted like they're being pinned down or anything. Overall, I'd say it's very, very easy on the cattle. It doesn't get them all hyper and high strung. Versus a chute where you got to pen them in. So having one of these things is huge, because if I didn't have this, since I don't have a chute, unless I rented one for roughly half the cost of the darts, which still isn't much, you know, then I wouldn't even be able to do this, which I've never done it before. With my cows, we used to lutalice our cows when we were still doing dairy. So let's pull up our phone app. I'm gonna take this glove off because I have to be working with my phone, and I have to look up my list and see which ones I already got. That easy. Now, at least since they're penned in the barnyard, the darts are constrained to just being in here versus being out in the pasture. Put up our next dart. I think it's important to note that if you do this, you should have plenty of bull power out in the field, which is enough bulls to be able to breed all of your cows when they come into heat, which I'm not too worried about that if they don't get bred on the first round. Depending on what my registered cow has, my registered heifer has this September, I may end up keeping that bull back and using him to breed the rest of my herd, and then breeding my registered heifer back to one of my bulls that I already have, and that way try to grow my registered herd. There you have it, folks. I'm gonna keep doing this until I get as many of them as I can. I'm gonna run out to the pasture once I get as many of them in here as I can, and see if I can hook up with some of them out in the field. I've got a lot of the wilder ones in the barn lot already, so I don't know which ones are going to be left out there. I'll have to look at the list and see. Well, I just got all of my cows lutealized. I didn't think I was going to get all of them. I had to go out into the pasture and shoot a few out there earlier, but eventually I got them all to come up to the barnyard. Just kind of spending the whole day working with them and closing the ones that do come up in a way, gets the other ones curious and makes them wonder where they went, so they'll come up to the barnyard. But yeah, now in 72 hours is the time for them to be bred. If they all come into heat at the same time, I have questions whether or not my bulls are going to be able to breed every single one of them, but they should be able to get the solid majority. And then in another 21 to 27 days, when the ones that they didn't get come back into heat, the bulls will still be out there. So you know, if they all don't calve at the same time, it's not going to be a big deal. Would I like them to all calve at the same time? Yes, but we'll just have to wait and see. The big thing was just getting them all lutealized so that I don't end up with any calves that are brown or white. So I'm gonna throw these darts away. It's too bad they can't be reused, but looking at the tips, I don't think I'd want to reuse them. I definitely should have went bigger on the feeder, but I'm still on budget constraints. I have 63 cows that are going to be coming into heat with the possibility of being bred and calving here this next spring. So in 2 years from today, I should be selling whatever I don't keep. So I like looking forward down the line and seeing how many I'm going to have in the future. It's going to open up a lot of possibilities for me, because up until this point, I haven't been taking cattle. Up until last year, I hadn't been taking raising cattle very seriously. And I just saw the potential with what could be, so I just started keeping back all my heifers. And it's been hard because I haven't been making that much money from the cows, but the ones that I do sell have been selling fan-freaking-tastic. Like that, the last 2 that I had sold went for $270, and I've got 14 more that are going to be going up for sale here soon this week. So I'm excited to see what the future has in store. But I'm going to take the 4-wheeler out, go treat that last one. I'm going to force the girls to stay up here for a while, and then I'm going to kick them back out because I know not all of their calves are up here. And then in 2 days, I'm going to let the bulls out. But I want to show you guys something else I got at Murray's in Lancaster. It's better than nothing, isn't it, girls? Yeah, it is. Woo! You guys ever seen one of these? Come on. This thing was also so worth the money. It makes it a breeze going in and out of the pasture. And like today when I was carrying the gun and the darts and the taggers and the bander, not having to get off the 4-wheeler to go into the pasture is a huge boon. And I'm probably going to be getting another one to put between the pastures so that when I kick them out to the other pasture, all I got to do is just drive through those 2 automatic gate closers and we'll be good. But that's pretty much it for today. I'm wrapping things up. So with that, thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to check out all of our other videos. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. All how farms work. And with that, I'll see you next time.